If you don't know about Cheap Audio Man, I just finished this video. He's a good guy. I disagree with him on a couple of things, but he comes more from a, I would say, an audiophile background. Okay, somebody that really is into the mechanisms and the sort of tactile experience of using the equipment. He's like more in love with the equipment than, say, the music, even though that's also a high as well. And a lot of people are like that. So I used to be like that, and I toned back on the I think it's douchey, but I still like his channel, and I still watch, and I enjoy it, and I get a lot of information. So what I thought was interesting about this particular video was that the Onkyo CD carousel player is still being made. Now, he says it's only under $400, which I think is way too expensive for a CD player. And you can find one of these used, and all you got to do is put the little CD in there with the little brushes to clean the lens, and it's good as new. They don't break. Well, they do break, but a lot of times you can find one that hasn't been used and is usually has, like, like when you find a 2001 Toyota Camry in mint condition. It was probably owned by an older person that then passed away, and so they took really good care of it, or they didn't use it at all. And again, you can find one for really cheap if you want to get into that. I don't really like CD changers, but I will point out a couple of things that I thought were great about the carousels versus the magazines as he goes through. One of the great things about carousels, and especially the Onkyo equipment at the time, was that it would play a disc while you could oscillate back and forth the carousel, pivot back and forth. You couldn't come around. Some ones I remember being able to spin it as much as you want, but the problem was you would run into idiots that would double up the CDs and put it in the spot that was already there. And so a lot of times these carousels would only pivot so far so that you couldn't double up on putting a CD in the same place, two CDs in one spot. And so what was great about this, though, is that you could change it. Sometimes the random shuffler wasn't that great, and also if you added more discs, sometimes you'd have to come back and hit shuffle again. So eventually, of course, it got to streaming, and I will go over some of the in-betweens. It was a lot like Teenage Growing Pains, where it was like, this is really cool, however, it's already outdated. And so that's what happened in the early 2000s as you started seeing with MP3 format, Napster, and the like. But I do recommend watching his video. And if you want to support his channel, support his channel. I like the content, and it's always neat to hear a different side of it. The other video that I watched previous to this one was about when Bose sued Consumer Reports. And how much of a dick move it was for Bose to do that. But again, Bose is a big corporation with lots of investors, and typically their perspective is different than that of a normal human. Does that make sense? So one of the other things that I liked with this, at the time I used to go to, and this is the early 90s, probably 1990, 1991, I would skateboard down to the Circuit City that was across the street from Fiesta Mall over there on Southern Avenue in Mesa, Southern and Alma School. And one of the things that they came out with at the time to compete with some of these other products was there was a company, Panasonic. It's not a real popular brand anymore. And I think it kind of got mushed up with Toshiba, JVC, and some others. But this one was really unique in that it used what was called MASH, which I'll let you read on that. It really is just kind of a acronym thing. But one of the cool things that they had about it was they added RAM. They added memory so that it would keep the delay down between songs. So it would memorize like the last, say, minute or 30 seconds of the previous track, and then it would rotate the discs and spin up the new one, and so then it would fade into the next song really quick. And then there was another technology Again, it was another one of those acronym technologies. It was a Panasonic's MASH 1-bit technology, and the salesman could never give me a good description, because again, at the time there was not really a lot of words. They weren't as popular and as we know now. But again, it just uses a 256, which again, a lot of people are like, 256 is not shit. You know, there's FLAC, there's all kinds of other formats now, but this is the one that they used. And it was like, again, this also integrated the basically RAM, adding RAM to a CD player. One of the things they also didn't cover too much was the CD changer. So that was the alternate technology that was then supported by JVC and the other Japanese groups, Toshiba, JVC, Toshiba, Panasonic, and even Urban Audio Works got in on it. I remember buying a lot of these closeouts where they either had a head unit that it worked with, or even just a standalone sort of remote controller that you could then use to integrate into an OEM system by using an FM modulator, so that you would put the preset on like 85.5 whatever it was, megahertz, kilohertz, whatever it is, for FM, and then it would modulate into your antenna adapter on your car radio, your factory system. So, and then Rockford actually farmed out this one. So this one would be related to you. And the idea behind the cartridge, it was sort of like the Betamax versus VHS wars for videotapes, in that the magazine idea was that you weren't going to go buy a separate library of CDs just to put in your car. And so you could take this, and of course at the time Rockford they had gotten out of home audio long ago, but the idea that Pioneer sort of sparked, and then of course Kenwood and the others, Panasonic, JVC, was that you could take your magazine out of your car audio player, bring it to home, bring it into your living room, and then pop it in your living room. So because you only listen to the same, 6, 8, 10 discs over and over again. But that all got replaced by not streaming yet, but there were some other weirdo in-betweens. Let me see if I can find them on the internet real quick. Okay, so I found it, which was, at least I think I found, yeah, this is it. So what these were, if I remember right, and you can correct me if you want, but basically these were memory sticks that you could load with MP3s. And then it was a multi-changer setup. And again, you could use either an RF modulator interface or some sort of controller, from what I remember. But this was the shit, and it only lasted like, I think only one season. But yeah. In my search, it came up with the other product, the upgrade to this, which was like, and again, there's an old saying, and Larry F. used to say this all the time. He says, don't sell somebody a product, sell them a solution. And the idea is that you sell them a whole sort of environment solution for everything. Like you're fixing all their problems, but that's very, very expensive. And a lot of companies get into that, like Apple, right? Apple then makes the radios, and they make the headphones, and they make, they want you coming back, and I understand Apple is probably the top creator of this sort of idea, and of course they love promoting it, and they're so witty and so smart about tricking millions and millions of people into using their products. They don't talk about the bad side of it is for the consumer, but as a product and service provider, it's delicious. It's a monopoly. So, but let me go back. I love their head units. I love their old head units. I love the remotes. That was it was a shuttle jog, and the button was an execute button, so you could go through and choose whatever menu you want to execute. Go to the next one, execute, back. It was great. It was very intuitive. It was a lot like an iPod. I think they actually got sued by Apple. But the one that I got the other day was this one. OmniFi. So OmniFi was a Rockford product, but I think they marketed it sort of as a generic. It may have been a group product that they did with AC Delco, because they had done a couple of projects. Rockford did their first radios through AC Delco. AC Delco built them, and then Rockford made a bunch of amps and stuff like that for their Odyssey. I think it's Odyssey is spelled weird, for Vet and Cadillac, premium GM products, because AC Delco is GM. But anyways, the OmniFi I thought was really great. $35 pre-owned. That's about what they should go for. I think I paid $17 for the one I found at. I really do not like this new. Again, I just want to go to the product. Take me to the product. Thank you, fucking Google. So again, the faceplate, the head unit. This is a wired remote that is separate than what you would normally see, like where this would be a CD player and then it integrates a CD changer. Okay, so this is just a separate remote that just lives on its own. And one of the interfaces that you could go through was, again, FM modulation. FM modulation is not too bad. It's, it's like if you have a great system, even when you tune into FM, it's still okay. It's not hi-fi, but it's still okay. But, you could say the same thing about a 128 kilobit, MP3, it's about the same quality. So, but what was great about OmniFi was they expanded on the idea that you didn't want to leave your CD, you didn't want to have your home CD different than your car CD. And so this was meant as an integration device with your PC. And so these little guys, this little magazine, this is a real hard drive. And they had a little Wi-Fi. This was before people really had Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi was available, but typically only like in a corporate setting. It's not like when it was like free everywhere, and this is all pre-Starbucks and shit like that. But this was a little hard drive that you could bring in, and you had like a little docking station at your PC, and you could load it up with all the MP3s that you had on your PC, and then bring this out to your car, and then stick it in there in the changer device, the reader, and then play all the songs that you wanted. And of course, with the MP3 format, there's metadata in order to read the track. And then what was really great, I remember spending hours and hours and hours listening to music on my Winamp. Was it nothing whips like the llama's ass or something like that? But I love the Winamp player, and I love the Winamp skins and all that kind of stuff at the time. But and then you can go. They had a feature in there where you could go in there and change the metadata to whatever you wanted. But anyways, this thing also came with a Wi-Fi antenna so that you could actually do it from your car if you wanted to transfer music from your PC collection. Again, it was just a assigned folder. You probably use software to just make an assigned folder that it knew. And of course, everybody used Windows and all that kind of stuff. So let me show it to you real quick, though. So, and this was more of a, again, it was not a Rockford Fosgate product. It was more of a mainstream product. And Rockford Fosgate spent a lot of money and a lot of time trying to get into the mainstream without success. And again, they tried to get into the accessories business. And then now we got Ron working at Recoil. There you go. There's the interface. So, and of course, you look at that head unit and you go, oh, that's Rockford for sure. And it's got Rockford accents, ideas. There's the antenna for the Wi-Fi. And then here is everything. I thought this would just make a great video for you guys. And then I saw that, oh, it's got two. Again, this is going to be the PC, and then this one's in your car. See how that works? And then your changer now turned into a hard drive that you could take it back and forth. What would be interesting is to see if we could upgrade this to like an SSD or something like that. That is like some insane, terabyte, 3-4 terabyte or whatever SSD. That'd be really cool to see if we could do that. Probably uses the older interfaces, the IDE interfaces, which would not be compatible. But again, it's very interesting to see if somebody wants to do that. Removable faceplate so nobody steals it. And then you got your FM modulator, and then the antenna. Of course, a wall wart to power the external hard drive, and then a USB cable. Brand new. So, and then it's got the changer cable, which is a standard, what is that, a 20-pin DIN or something, some shit like that. This was the same DIN cable that Rockford used on their 8-disc changer, which was made by, I think, JVC, if I remember right. So, but just a little trip down memory lane for you guys, that you guys remember really cool shit from Rockford Fosgate. Again, not dogging Rockford Fosgate. They tried really hard, and I liked a lot of their products. I don't know why they don't bring them back. Guys, all their fans are in their 50s now, and they can afford it. Look what Bernie Boland's doing with his Orion amplifiers, the NT amplifiers. They are better than ever. And also, now you can charge full price for that kind of shit. So good for Bernie, good for everybody. I'm glad everybody's having a great holiday. It's my birthday. I love you guys. Thank you so much for your shout outs and your well wishes. And again, if I got to get a store or something where you can buy merch and all that kind of stuff. The only thing I have is like extra 500 amp relays, distro blocks, Cicada Mio motors, shit like that, big AV hardware stuff that I buy and flip. But I thank you for your support, and I love you guys. Thank you so much. And again, go watch Cheap Audio Man's YouTube channel, and feel free to support him and ask him some questions. Thanks a lot, guys. I love you.